We all know how difficult it can be going up on a steep slope on a mountain. You're out there with a bunch of friends of yours, they're chatting and having fun while they're doing this thing, and all you're thinking about is, I can either chat or breathe, but if I'm gonna try to do both, I'm probably gonna faint. That's a sign that you might be struggling with your aerobic endurance. Today we're looking at ways of developing your aerobic endurance. In this video, we're gonna go through what your heart rate needs to be at, what training variables your sessions need to be at, and we're also gonna look at a couple of methods that you can use to develop your aerobic endurance. The first thing we need to do is determine your maximum heart rate. So this is the highest number of beats per minute that your heart can pump while under maximum stress. Your maximum heart rate can be estimated using the formula 220 minus your age. We're going to be using this formula because it's a more convenient starting point for most people. If you've been training your cardiovascular fitness for a while, you can use this adapted formula that's a bit more precise for more active people. Or alternatively, if you're a bit older or if you feel a bit less prepared, then you can use this adapted formula instead. Now that we've established our maximal heart rate, the next thing we need to do is find a way to monitor our heart rate during training. You can do this by purchasing a heart rate monitor in the form of a chest strap or a wristwatch. Two good brands are Polar and Garmin, but equally you can find other good brands out there just by doing a little bit of research. So we've established our maximum heart rate, and we also found a way to monitor our heart rate. The next thing we need to do is to find our training variables, so our distance and our intensity, in order to improve our aerobic endurance. Two great ways for developing your aerobic endurance are LSD training, or long slow distance training, and also aerobic intervals. LSD training can be considered conversation exercise, where you can carry out a conversation while performing the activity without too much stress. You can start these sessions by doing 30 minutes, and in time you can work up to doing even 120 minutes or longer. You can start by training at 60% of your maximum heart rate, going up to 70% of your maximum heart rate. In times of the year when my cardio is really good, I sometimes find it hard to keep a good tempo even at 70% of my maximum heart rate. So if you find that that's the same case for you, and you find that you're going a little bit over this number, but you can still carry out the conversation while you're doing this training, then that's totally fine. Our next training option is aerobic intervals. These sessions are of a lower duration but a higher intensity. The goal here is to improve the ability of the body to work at higher intensities and to adapt the body to clear higher levels of lactate. In terms of the training session, start this by doing a warm-up that can be 5 to 10 minutes of a slow jog. Then you can start the session by doing 4 intervals that are 4 minutes long at a heart rate that's about 80% of your maximum heart rate, and you can have a rest in between each interval that's 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. To progress this, you can either increase the number of intervals that you're doing, you can also increase your heart rate up to 85% of your maximum heart rate, and you can also decrease the rest that you have in between these intervals. And lastly, let's talk about the training methods that you can use to implement everything that we talked about so far. Let's start by talking about the most obvious option, which is running. Running is a great full body option for developing aerobic endurance, and it's also accessible for most people and doesn't require any equipment. Our next option is a cross trainer. This is a great option in case you have any sort of knee or ankle injury, just because it's a low impact activity. It's also a great option to increase the strength of your legs, since you can increase the resistance that you're doing the exercise at. Another great option is trail running, which also has all of the benefits of regular running. It comes with the added benefit that you have a specific conditioning element for hiking and mountaineering, since you're traveling in uneven terrain. The downside with this is that you need a little bit of experience in order to perform it, because it has a higher risk of injury. Following this, we have cycling, which again can be a great option to strengthen your legs, and it's also great as being a low impact activity in case you have any sort of ankle or knee injury. And lastly, we have hiking and mountaineering while carrying a heavy backpack. I definitely encourage you guys to have at least one session during the week of this type of activity leading to your main goal. This is because it has that specific element of conditioning towards hiking and mountaineering, because you're traveling at a similar speed while going through all of that uneven terrain, and you're also having to carry all of that heavy weight that you would do during your goal.